Friggin' semi-truck stuck. And you got the next guy stuck. Everybody's going around him now. Both the semis are stuck. Dude, that second guy is probably so pissed because he was gonna make it.
Get your bubble strap out.
Fucking Chevy trucks!
Bro, Austin's towing a fucking semi! That is badass!
Old 6.0's got the your out of oil light on, so picked up a few quarts. I know that it was low because, like I said, there was no dipstick tube in it, so it was literally leaking out the side. So I gotta trim this one. It's too long right now. It's gotta be like 33.7 inches is what the average one is, and this one is like 45 inches. So I'm gonna trim it, fill it with oil, and then we should be good. And then we can go from there. So the other day I did the rear windows and all the tint came out good. I rushed really fast on the front ones, and the little lip on the top is really tight against the window, so I gotta take off the door panels to tint the fronts. I just threw the tint on because I was like, whatever, I want something to cover the light, but they're absolute trash. Like, so we're gonna peel these bad layers off and retint this today. Make them look good. All right, this window is done. Came out absolutely gorgeous, but that's because I took off the whole damn panel, and it took me a while, and I had to redo it like 4 times. So it came out pretty damn good. There's like a little bubble right over there, but I'll hit it with the credit card, and as it dries, I'm gonna make sure there's no bubbles. But now it came out really damn good because I actually took the time, took off the door panel and everything, so it's perfect. So I did this window too. They both came out really, really good. Just letting them dry. You know, I'll just try not to roll them down for the next few days, and then I'll keep checking up if there's any bubbles. But my passenger taillight over there, you know, I just put the LEDs in. But for some reason, everybody always loses the frigging screws that go into the taillights and hold them into the bed. That's just like a Chevy thing. And there wasn't any to go in my taillights, so I tried to use something. It wasn't working. And then I tried to screw something in that I found that it looked like it was about the right size, and it kind of held it in place, but as I drive down the road and hit bumps, it would wiggle and loosen, and my taillight would be hanging out the side of my truck, dancing around. And then the other night I just tacked it. Like I just tack welded just a little bit so it wouldn't, you know, back out and fall out. And it's been fine all day yesterday and all last night and all this morning. And then I went to Mexico and I did a donut on dry pavement in Mexico, and then it broke the tack. So the taillight fell out and it was like hanging. And then I come back and I'm like, oh, I'll just weld it a little bit harder then. It's just enough where I can break it still if I ever want to take the taillight out, but that it's not going to break if I go to Mexico and do donuts. And I try to frigging weld just a little bit, but I try to weld both the bolts holding the taillight in. And then I'm like, oh no, it smells kind of funny. It doesn't smell like metal. It smells like rubber or plastic burning. And I was like, oh no, did I just burn the taillight? And I turn on the light, the taillight works fine. And I'm like, oh no, my strobes that I've had nothing but issues with. I was like, let's turn on the strobes. I turn the strobes on, and the right one is like blown out. There's no right one. And I was like, damn, that sucks. And then I was like, you know what? It's all right. It's all right. It's not a big deal. I have an extra because the box was blown out on one of them, so I have an extra LED. I was like, I'll just switch it out for the white one I have. They'll both strobe white. Boom, fix it perfect. So I freaking lay under the truck a little bit, and I switch the wire out, and I put the new one, and I turn it on, and it's just as dim. Because the stupid frigging box, like the actual power box that's under the hood, cannot handle like any burst of energy whatsoever. So I burned out the other thing on the box. So basically the only way to get all of my lights to work again is to buy a third set of these lights. And I am not doing that, but I'm probably gonna end up doing that. So I just pulled into the gas station and I looked back at my truck real quick to see which pump I was on, and then I saw my rear tail light just hanging under the bumper. So it fell completely out. Luckily the wires for the bulbs clip in and it was still holding it, so it didn't like hit the pavement or really damage the tail light at all. But I put it back in, and the only thing I have on me right now is painter's tape, so I just taped it to the truck with painter's tape, and I'm hoping that holds for like 10 minutes. Alright guys, we sold the Duramax. I just couldn't focus on so many vehicles at the same time, so Duramax is leaving. Now we can get another one down the road if we really want, but just couldn't focus on all the vehicles at once, so got a new home. I am beyond excited to start ripping into this 6.0. I've already said a bunch of stuff last video, but I'm just so beyond excited. I keep saying it. I'm gonna build the trans, torque converter, build rear end, track bars, paint it, like intake, tune, everything, and it's just gonna be a frigging badass truck overall. So, you know, I'll miss the Duramax. It was a really good truck, and I mean, I got rid of it for less than I originally wanted and planned for. I know if I held on to it for longer, I probably could have gotten more for it, but honestly, even this guy that was gonna buy it, he was willing to pay more for it, and like, I don't know, it's just nice kind of helping people out almost. I mean, it's not necessarily helping someone out, he still bought the truck, but like, I took a pretty decent amount of change off the top of it, you know, just because it's like, I'm so tired of people ripping me off, you know what I mean? Like, everywhere I go, people are just trying to make as much money as they can, trying to do everything they can to frig you over. And it was just like, I like helping other people out. Like, when I bought that truck, I had to drive to Vermont twice for it. And I drove it all the way home while it was leaking fuel. And I gave the kid an extra $300 than what he wanted for it, because I knew that he was having a hard time and like struggling with the truck, trying to fix it and stuff and get it all ready for sale. Like, I knew he was disappointed and he was just trying to get through shit, you know? I get it, I deal with the same stuff. So I gave him an extra $300, you know? And I had people come to look at this truck, offer me like dirt for it. And it's like, nobody ever just wants to help you out. So I was like, look, if you can make this happen and I'll take this off it, I'll make it a little cheaper. So I didn't make as much money as I wanted off it, but it's not about the money. You know, the kid's gonna enjoy it, he's gonna like it, he's gonna build it and do what he wants with it, and, you know, continue loving it and taking steps forward with it. I'm not really gonna. It would just sit for a while, or, you know, maybe it would get built, and then who knows, it might sit for a few months and I might end up selling it anyways if I didn't now. So it's just out of the way now. I can focus on the 6.0, focus on my Pontiac, and get ready for the trips that I'm about to take anyways here in the spring with the Pontiac, and this truck towing the Pontiac for big skids. So it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But the Duramax is gone. I'm gonna pull off off all this side trimming now. Obviously, it looks like there's some bubbling behind that, but it'll get sanded down and the whole truck's gonna get painted. Take off the 2500 badges and take off the fender flares on the front. And this tailgate came off a Silverado, so it still says Silverado on the back, so I'll probably pull that off. And then the whole thing will be debadged. Do I have 2 mud flaps? Oh, sick. Yeah, there's mud flaps on the back, I guess. Neat. But yeah, it should look good debadged with the fender flares off the front. I think the fender flares on the front aren't hiding any rust, but we're gonna find out. So it's all debadged. Obviously there's still some residue left. I'm gonna clean it up some more, but I'm getting ready to head into town to go get an estimate. Well, they already gave me an estimate, but they want to see the truck in person, but so I can schedule a time to get it professionally painted. So I think I'm gonna try to get that done first. Well, I stopped at Mako, and I mean, they can paint it right now as it is, but the guy kind of convinced me not to paint it right now. He was like, well, you might as well just put a new bed on it first, and there's some dents in the hood that you should fix, and the grill's cracked. So he basically was saying I should do that stuff first, or bare minimum at least put a bed on it, because the bed's kind of crusty. I personally don't really care that much. Like, I know the bed's crusty, but I'll put another bed on it.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Washington Avenue.
On. There we go. But yeah, I was like, you know, I could just put one on down the road, but he's kind of like, I don't know, he just convinced me to put a bed on it first. So I guess I'm going to try to look for a bed for it and try to get a bed on it sometime soon and then paint it. But, you know, if I'm already not doing it just yet, I'm already going to go and get a bed, then now it's not really on the top of the priority list. I want to do it first. But
turn right onto Washington Avenue.
I got to shove the GPS first. Anyways, if it's not on the top of my list now, it's probably going to be a little bit. Now I'm going to go after the other stuff, like start building cool things on it, like the rear end and everything like that. But, so I guess I'm not painting it just yet.